Monday, November 10th, 2025, year of our Lord. 50 years to the date of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. If you haven't listened to the Gordon Lightfoot classic from 1976, go do it right now. Well, right now is whenever you're going to be checking this out. In the meantime, we're back with another edition of Make City Make Spence, where the wicked winds of November have definitely come to roost for Detroit
Yeah,
City FC.
exactly. The gales of November have come early.
Yeah, which poses a problem when one is a father of all things warm, right, Sean Spence?
I'm not enjoying myself right now. It's far too cold.
Uh,
And we lost, so both of those are bad.
Garret Comats is always joined by the production maestro of the Majors Detroit, Adam Hernandez, as mentioned, the keeper of the Pizza Mayans, father of all things warm, lover of all things cats, architect of the Words About Shapes Patreon, to which you can subscribe to for $3 a month. And yeah, Detroit City FC went, what, the 4.5 hour drive, maybe a bit longer if you were driving back that night via snowstorm. I mean, Pedro Ventura, you're an absolute saint and a sicko. And a matchup that Sean, you predicted 2-0, Adam 1-0. I said 0-0, 120 minutes and penalties. It was as every bit of ugly as I thought it was going to be of a match.
Look how
And
smart you are.
I didn't nail it all the way because uh, the penalty should have started off good for Detroit City FC. In fact, a 2-1 advantage. But then Devin Amavensa hit the post. Pittsburgh scored. Ryan Williams hit crossbar. Pittsburgh scored. Michael Bryant blasted a penalty in and had an expressive celebration that was not surprising. And then Pittsburgh Riverhounds buried theirs to win and advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. All right, that's all I got. Sean Spence, off to you.
Um, well, I was feeling stupid about the 2-0 prediction within about 20 minutes. Um, because we like this settled into a very Pittsburgh versus Detroit like rhythm. It it seemed likely that it was going to end scoreless early on. It's like, oh, okay. These teams are, their most dangerous attacker is Robbie Mertz, who's, um, about this, like, who's small and 2-footed and a little quick, but not that quick. And,
So he should be playing for City, Sean. Is that what you're
right.
saying?
Right.
University of
Well,
Michigan graduate as well.
right. Really,
I think it was a
we
U.
had a kind of a spectrum of ineffectual attacking play from the two teams.
I hear
Um,
spectrum in my eyes beacon.
the like Augie Williams as the kind of seemingly half interested target striker. The Robbie Mertz and Jesse El Cedeno as the insufficiently physical, twinkle toes attackers. Um, Ates um, had one of those nights where he's in and out of it. He doesn't look connected, doesn't look like he believes that the responsibility is his to carry things, and unfortunately the problems with the Chapman Williams midfield were much more in evidence once again than they had been against Louisville, when I think everyone was really super sharp and ready to play. And what I mean by that is that we just turned the ball over quite a bit without a lot, sometimes without a lot of prompting through the middle, where granted, it is a tough. It's a lot like Keyworth in that it's a narrow field. It gets very cramped in the middle, but that means both teams should be like kind of used to it. And what really seemed to come out of it is that these were teams that were both set up first to destroy, and so they just sort of destroyed. And it came down to penalty kicks. Like if you made them play replays every day, they'd be on their like fifth straight 0-0 after extra time, um, and like trying to sign players on 2-day contracts just to have somebody who can walk. Because man, these teams are not good at attacking at all. Um,
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can hear the cat toy going off next to my. I forgot that thing was on, and
Cat, well,
it's
if you
like
do or
clicking.
don't, the cat toy offered more attack than what Detroit City did over
Yeah,
120 minutes.
exactly. It is the cat toy is has got a lot more intent to fuck up our sonic defense than our attack had any intent to fuck up the Pittsburgh defense. It just was it wasn't good enough. This was wide open for the taking. I look at the talent on the roster, even with all the injuries to guys that played a lot of minutes last year. Um, and think, okay, well, there's like this is a team that should be that like I mean they just needed one goal to get through against Pittsburgh, and it seemed like it would not ever come. And we're bringing on like Guinzotti off the bench,
Or Darren Smith.
right? Like, and like I can't think of a moment except for the first penalty. I can't think of another moment like in the second half of the season when he hasn't looked cooked, like completely cooked. And I get that he's probably a great guy and he's a good leader and he works hard and yada yada. But I mean, he looks like he's being marshaled really easily by defenders at this point. And I'm sure he feels it, He's out there giving everything he's got, but what he's got is not, I mean, I guess if you want somebody who, what are you getting out of Darren? There's not a lot of pressures. There's not a lot of combination. So, okay. I mean, sure, Sebastian will, um, if he's not getting physically overwhelmed by the defender, he will keep the ball. Um,
Adebayo Smith in for Juve. I mean, I thought about it too. And when you look at our penalty takers, Yamazaki was off for Sheldon. It's like, I think Dennis had in our chats for Channel 451 was just like our penalty take, like our attacking threats, other than Guenzotti stepping up, were not the ones that stepped up for the penalties.
right. No, not at all. It was all old guys.
Yeah, or
Uh,
defense.
yeah, but I mean, those are all older guys.
Yeah.
The you know, again, it seems to me that not starting Kobe Hernandez Foster in this match was an error. I felt like not starting him against Louisville was an error, but it turned out. Um, and it seems like he's the latest, maybe the last victim of a Danny Doghouse kind of situation here. Because nothing in his play, like his play had cooled slightly from the very, very high, like, best 11 level he was at for the first like 4 or 5 matches he played with us. But it wasn't bad. Um, and it wasn't like, you just lost your starting spot to Jay Chapman level, is what I'm saying. Um, and but he clearly did. And I had a hard time getting into rhythm when thrown into the match, like kind of not in his position. They're asking him to do what Jesse L does. It's like, well, that's not really what he does, right? Like he wants to play in front of him. He doesn't want to play all around him. You know what I mean? He's not that kind of playmaker. Um, And we know that when you give him situations where he can do that, he produces good work. And but so the sort of seeming refusal to give him that situation, I just find puzzling. Like, almost like malpractice.
Like this is gonna be his way, damned if he does, regardless of result.
Yeah,
And
I just I think it's like at this point it feels to me like it's more like there is a sort of like this is one of those situations that we've run into a lot in the last few years where very emotional men do not recognize that they're emotional. Um, and they don't recognize that they're doing things out of emotionality and in fact are in denial about that. And when you say, "Oh, you're benching somebody because you're pissed," they're like, "No, I'm not pissed. Don't write in the paper that I was angry." Like, no, no, no. Like this is all about performance and practice and like, okay. Um, but when the players consistently come away from those situations thinking, I must have pissed him off, like, what do you think is going on there, dude? Like, they're not interested in trying to miscommunicate with you. They're not interested in trying to piss you off. Like that's just not a thing that's happening because they are all dependent upon you to get playing time. Um, and like I don't know if it's a matter of not like being deferential enough or getting caught kind of looking at him with side eye when he's saying like I don't know. I do not know what is going on there that is causing people to fall out with Danny, but my goodness, like this was a match where we needed Kobe to help with our buildup and to help
yeah,
us keep the ball and arrive in the area in a coherent fashion and not with like two guys against five guys falling back and hoping for some kind of miracle. um and that's because he understands like the rhythm of an attack and the sort of the phase of the game. Like you can't always just play a ball. It's not automatically where you play the ball, it's where everyone is in relation to the ball, right? And if there aren't people in the box to take advantage of that fantastic ball you just laid out onto the flank, then what was the point of that ball to begin with, right? Like, no, you needed to cycle it more and wait for the runs to develop or whatever. And I just don't feel like there's like I feel like he is the only midfielder who thinks on that level during a match that we have on the roster. Maybe Haruki when he gets a chance, when he's not, like involved in vendettas on the field, which he seems to get really involved in a lot. Um, uh, so, I it was there for the taking. This Pittsburgh team was imminently beatable. Um, and
when
yet,
you
having
also
said that,
look at
they
Rhode
might just
Island
they
winning
might
at
just
North Carolina
yeah,
too.
but they might just go into roll into Rhode Island and shut up. I mean, pretty much do what we've been doing, just kind of shut up shop and hope to get the odd goal. And if not, win it in penalties. I mean, they like at this point, you're looking at the Riverhounds and thinking they could be in the Cup final having not scored a goal to run and play for like 3 hours
Yeah,
or no 6 hours, and
high market
like
for a conference final too. I mean,
uh, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Um,
I was gonna say, Adam, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, it was, I mean, this was this was that typical again Detroit City match that, we saw against Blue City in a sense where, they really didn't do anything different, literally didn't do anything different in this game, and it came back to bite them in the ass. And not only that, too, I mean, this isn't a dynamic team. Like this isn't a team that is um this isn't an offense that's going to keep opposing coaches up, all night trying to figure out how to scheme against it. It's just not going to happen. And I mean, I'm with you, Sean, when, it's incredibly perplexing in terms of why players are sitting on your bench that could make an offensively milk toast club a little bit more dynamic or a little bit more interesting. Um, it is malpractice. It is unjustifiable why you would leave Kobe Hernandez Foster on the bench in a game that is win or go home. And of course, players fall into doghouses with head coaches all the time. I mean, we've seen it before. It happens. It probably happens to, most professional players out there. But this was a common pattern, it seemed like, with this
It's been a
coaching
constant.
regime
It has been constant.
and this particular head coach. And it's just, I don't know if Danny's trying to play smartest man in the room, which he's the head coach. Obviously, what he says ultimately goes, but you look back on this season and it wasn't successful. Even with that win against Lou City, it wasn't a successful season. And like we said last week, too, you play Lou City 10 times, they're probably beating you 9 out of those 10 times, if not all 10 times. Um,
I'd say 8-1-1.
Sure. Yeah. And it's no secret. I mean, you're not going out there and trying to, cure some incurable disease or anything like that. We see this in every single other sport. You put your best players out there that are going to provide you the most opportunity. You put the players out there that are going to provide you the most opportunity to win. That's why in baseball, you put your best hitters up at the top of the lineup. Why do you do that? Because technically speaking, they're going to get the most at bats throughout the course of a game. It's like in basketball. You don't sit your best players on the bench to start the game. You didn't see Cade Cunningham starting the game tonight for the Pistons sitting on the bench. No, he was starting in part because most of the Pistons starting lineup is hurt right now.
Mhm.
Um, and it's, again, like I said, this isn't
They're
rocket
10 deep
scientists.
tonight.
Yeah,
Well,
this isn't rocket scientists the way that a lot of these lineups should be comprised of, especially if you're Detroit City, when you are looking for a midfielder to stabilize and neutralize things after Maxi Rodriguez left in the offseason. You finally found that in Kobe Hernandez Foster. And then you're going to go off and tell me, oh no, Jay Chapman provides us a better opportunity to win. Are you fucking serious?
yeah,
You gotta be,
I
you gotta be, you gotta be out of your fucking mind if that's the case. I'm
Did he
sorry,
just
I just
say?
don't
Did he
buy it.
just say he hated house music? Like what the fuck?
I
just gonna
don't buy it.
refer
I
to my
don't buy it at all.
I'm going to refer to my previous thesis, which is that we've got an extremely emotional leader who is involved in like a lot of denial about their own emotionality. Like, no, 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 these are all like, and so that's how you wind up making completely unjustifiable assessments.
Yeah,
Like, we used to see this kind of thing all the time in team sports, all the time, because
yeah,
it was because coaching was approached from an angle of domination from the beginning. You were dominating the players, you're dominating their wills, you're bending them to do exactly what you want and not what they want, and that's understood to be in opposition to each other. Like this whole fucked up dynamic that we used to kind of bring to the thing, and that's what Danny represents. Frankly, is that like the previous generations version of coaching and version of man management, which is like kind of alienation and power games and bullshit. And I fucking hate it. I guess maybe I haven't made that clear. But I think at some point that it begins to feel like the things we talk about on this show, it's like, is this club being run to make me fucking hate it? Like, it's like every decision is like, wow, that is what you would do if you wanted me to fucking hate you. Um, and that's what we're doing. Like, um, you know, I, ugh,
This is a good tie-in because
Yeah.
What you just said is feelings that I have felt throughout a lot of times this season, especially these last 3 months or so, more so than any other year. Um, is that a summarization if of this season? If not, what's your each of you's summarization or like your ways to describe this season? If people ask a year to 2025 Detroit City season, what did you think? What was it like? One, we'd have to like, deal with the shot. Like, damn it, why do you have to bring this up? But two, what would you say?
Um, like my memories of this season from Detroit City will be largely like the Adam Driver um uh I just lost her name. The lead actor opposite him. She's
Which
in the
movie?
Marvel. She's in the Marvel movies.
Brie
The,
Larson.
no, it's
No.
like Marriage Story. I think it's the name of it. It's basically about a marriage falling apart, about the kind of the heartbreak
Is it
of
Scarlett
of
Johansson?
an Scarlett Johansson, right? And like the heartbreak of a relationship that like you get in flashback that was like warm and fulfilling um and now you are seeing it now and it's not, it's starkly not. That kind of will be my memory of this year, I believe. Um, so it's not been a great one in my view. Um, but the 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 truth is the matter is, all this can be repaired, I think. But I don't think that the people who could repair it are all that interested in any kind of maintenance of this, you know, relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like I just I just struggle to understand how we can be, you know, like this is the year that all of the slogans became just slogans, they're just marketing. It's, you know, most of them are technically true if you don't get into it too hard. Um, and they've held the line on ticket prices, which I think is kind of the last like feather in their cap. Like, this is gonna be a great value. But they have, instead of talking about it being like an experience for the whole community and all that, now it's couched in consumerist terms, right? What value are you getting from this outing? And thinking of families as like, these financial units that you're wooing, and just capitalism has ruined the thing. It did the
So
thing it
it's
does.
it's funny you say that. I saw an ad for, I think it might have been either in the email because I still get emails from
Was
the
it the
club.
newsletter that had no news but like all ads? I
26
just got one of
2026
those.
season tickets save 60% compared to individual tickets or something like that. Something
Hmm.
along those lines. Um, yeah, something along that. But like you're talking about consumerism and like incentive.
Right. And but more than that, like the presence of consumerism has always been around, right? It's not the presence of consumerism that bums me out. It's the capitulation to everything but to only consumerism. It's
Hmm.
the it's the failure to understand that these other things are not driven by the profit motive. And so what that means is that even the most corrupt members of your organization will understand the necessity of following through on them. And these other things are not driven by the profit motive. So the more that you're structure, the people within your structure tend toward personally being kind of corrupt, the less they'll be feel the need to invest in any of that stuff, right? And that's what we see is that it's obviously not a big priority. like, yeah, we like to do good things. It's cool, I guess. And from that being like a founding plank and like one of the you know legs of the under the stool to like something you like, yeah, so we do it sometimes is a difficult transition for me anyway.
Yeah. Adam, what about you?
Probably bewilderment. I mean, just the decisions that were ultimately made both on and off the pitch this year was bewildering.
Right.
And
Like if you
um
told me that Danny had like, really nasty blackmail uh on one of the guys,
mhm.
I wouldn't be like, oh, what? That really makes the pieces click together a little bit. Like, okay, because like some of this shit is just like seems like self-destructive. Like, buddy, you okay? Like, are you sure?
Yeah,
Anyway, sorry.
I know that. I mean, whether it's some of the lineup decisions, personnel decisions, um, it was, it seemed like a club because it's funny. And I hate to admit this, but, I was listening to a Protagonist podcast the other day.
Mhm.
And,
Adam's in the
We've all
deep
been
end
there.
wind.
We've all been there.
I
I
was on a
haven't.
walk. I was on a walk. I was
Right.
on a walk, and yeah, I had it on, and they were speaking of Detroit City like it was still like 2020 or like 2021.
Yeah.
When everything seemed right with the world. Everything was kind of that well-oiled machine, whether it was or that well put on persona that everything was a well-oiled machine, because I know nothing is perfect, and I know
Right.
a lot of us on this show have seen kind of under the hood even then how things were.
Mhm.
But they were still talking like it was then, like Detroit City FC is some you know lower level soccer beacon of light you are supposed to kind of mimic and idolize, and that's what I want to be when I grow up. Maybe that's Vermont Green down there saying that's what I want to be when I grow up. When um I think it just seems like like a bunch of things kind of unraveled this year. And it's I guess is it, and like you said earlier, Sean, is it fixable? Yes, it is fixable. And I don't want people to think um that some of these things aren't fixable, because they are. There's some things that aren't fixable. Because if anybody's thinking that it's going to be that same club that it was in 2016, in 2018, in 2019, or even 2020, then keep on dreaming, because those days are never ever coming back. Um, but as far as like some of the perceived just disorganization and flimsiness of just how things have seemingly been run. You would hope that something like that is fixable, because that's what it seemed like things were this year, is just kind of taped together with bubble gum, and or put together with bubble gum. And when something went wrong, it went really, really wrong, and it went disastrously wrong. Um, and like I said, you just hope things like that can be fixed, because you would have figured, given the direction it seems like this club is going, this big shiny new stadium, Division One in USL in USL, that these details that we are talking about right now, they're not even fine details, just these details were going to be ironed over and polished up and fixed and ready to go. And this was, if they were going to be that big time D1 club in the United States, then under the hood, it was going to look like a D1 club, except it's not.
It's never, it's the thing. That's the thing is like, um, I would say at the level of infrastructure, we're still not a USL championship club, you
I
know?
totally agree. I completely
Um,
100% agree with you.
and, um,
We
I
are
think
still
that,
running like a NISA club, Sean, it seems like.
right. And,
We
this
still practice some of the things that we
where
did when we
this
were
is
an
where we get into
MPSL
the
club.
like the underlying problems in the USL Championship, which is, you know, like I talked to Sean, I don't know, 2 years, like not at the beginning of last season, so beginning of the 24 season. Um, he had just been to the meetings and he basically said, everybody loses $2 million every year, every club. And like everyone's trying to like close that gap. And um, you know, most clubs close that gap by asking their owner to just lose $2 million a year. Just like that's your investment a year, whatever. We'll do what we can to make you good, but like if you want this to compete, it's up to you to make the difference. We've tried not to do that here. I think we have successfully not done that here, but I think that the gap still exists for us. Maybe it's not 2 million, but
I think it was a 3 million loss last year, if I
uh,
recall right.
um,
But increased profit though.
sure. The fact is that we just this club has not scaled up its operations in the way they really have needed to, and it's because the money is very tight. And so when I say these things are fixable, they are fixable, but it's going to take some luck and some uh, really outstanding like appointments of employees who kind of perform miraculous work because there's a lot that needs filled in here, and I'm not just talking about I'm talking about sort of all of the mechanisms and structures of the club. It seems to me have almost kind of like there are several of them that seem to have reached a near breaking point as the season has gone on. There is no identified technical apparatus. I'm guessing that Dwayhe is involved in that because I know he's full time and he's the kind of guy who would be like, oh, this is a problem, I'm going to try to fix it. Um, so I don't know. I mean, that's my guess there, but that's not something he's done before. And you know, apparently we talked to Alex and he was kind of like, this is what you told me, right? He was kind of like, we'll have some answers soon.
On
Like,
the regarding technical side.
right. It's like, oh, okay. Well, all right. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the contracts and, Alex Villanueva, Jay Chapman, Ates Juf is on loan and his loan ends. Jesse El Cedeno, Connor Rutz, Ryan Williams, Matt Sheldon, Isaiah LaFleur, his loan is ending. All them,
Jordan
they're
Adebayo
all
Smith.
Jordan Adebayo Smith, his loan's ending. Um, all of those are players that are out of contract and don't the club doesn't have an option. So like they're really out there trying to find a new deal right now.
And in Don Gasso's case, you have two club options, but he played what, two times this year?
Right, right. So then, like, so what I'm saying is, like, the club needs to be making a lot of decisions right now, and of course, the one of the biggest decision is Danny coming back? Are we designing a team around Danny? And if so, how many players are out there who who are completely impervious to like emotional like manipulation? Is that a thing we can scout for? um,
Not only that, the 2026 guys, this old guard of people like your Stephen Carrolls and anything like that, what that are, on borrowed time body wise, what's going to just stop if Danny Dicchio comes back? What's just going to stop them and say, like, you know what, I'm done, I'm retiring?
well, I mean, okay, so like worst case scenario, the club doesn't exercise options on any of these players, and everybody walks. Kobe walks, Haruki walks, Dom walks, everybody goes, and then yeah, absolutely, the 26 people, like we're hearing that Stevie's like he does have a contract through 26 and an option, a player option for 27, but he's starting to kind of sound like he's, you know, maybe not 100% sure that he wants to keep going on the field. Um, and I'm sure we'll know, uh, it might be, I just know he had that procedure and came back and played a little bit and then was on the bench and kind of coming in as a sub and doesn't look 100% comfortable. And he's had constant knee problems, right? It's been a joke since, the early NISA days that we had that one celebration photo down in Chattanooga where he couldn't bend the one knee all the way. Um,
So
and
it's like me when I started
well,
to do
it was
lunges.
it's the photo where Matt Lewis was kind of goofily standing next to him and didn't think he was in the photo. Um,
San Diego needs to turn up Legends Cup semi.
it
Yep.
was it was a that was iconic. And yeah, that was Stevie couldn't quite like the one knee wouldn't bend. So that was a while ago. Um,
You feel old now.
yeah, and then like there's I'm looking at the 26 guys like okay like we've got what 10 here, 10 dudes for 26, but one of them's like Polisi. Like no,
Who?
Marcello Polisi is signed through 20. We signed him a 2-year guaranteed deal.
Ah,
The man with the best own goal in Detroit City FC history.
I mean that thing was a bullet. So
that was a beautiful own
Hey,
goal.
since a firework since it was 4th of July weekend.
right. Well, and like, okay, another guy that's signed till 26, Ben Morris. Like, is Ben going to keep playing?
Reese Williams.
Reese
Can
Williams is
Ben keep can Ben keep playing? I mean, that's
right. Like, how many ligaments can you replace your knee ligament with? Like he's gonna have to start having problems everywhere else because he's thinned out every tendon to make a new knee ligament.
yeah.
Lie's also banged. Lie's now compromised
We don't
injury.
know. Yeah, like I mean, we could see all three of
Saldana
those
even too.
guys. We could see all three of those guys just hanging up this season. Be like, Ben, Stevie, Lie, just all be like, okay, you know what? I'm into the next phase of my life. Um, and then we're really, really like in the fucking shit because we don't have a technical staff and we don't have a scouting apparatus.
Or a
Uh,
sporting director who front office has said is going to be responsible for determining the coach's decision
right.
and etc.
I mean, now let's make it clear that there is an easy solution like that is within reach, but it will cause ego injury to people in the owners group.
Hmm.
And that is firing Danny and reaching out to Trevor and Tiffany and saying, okay,
We fucked up.
uh, let's try this again. And then Trevor comes back and like, mentors Stevie as Stevie, because I think, Stevie's wouldn't mind being the manager of Detroit City. And I think that would be a cool thing if he turns out to be good at it. Um, but that's kind of the like there's a kind of hazy dreamlike option right there that you could go for at essentially no cost because I think you're still paying all these people. um, like, you could just go, oopsie, my bad. But it would require you to actually say the words oopsie, my bad, you know? You would have to say in public, like, we were wrong and now we are doing something different. And I do not remember a lot of those kind of statements from Detroit City in any case. So I am not help like there's a part of me that's like that would be so great. I could kind of start to, you know, recontextualize what has happened this year, and everybody learns and grows, and we laugh and we live and we love and we move on, right? And uh but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's characterologically virtually impossible for the people that I'm thinking of to go out in public and go like, yeah, I got that wrong, got that super wrong, and now I feel like kind of a jackhole, and I'm sorry to everyone. Let's move forward.
I also want to say too that I know, some people are going to say too that, City isn't in a situation that, is unforeseen or, uncharted because, there's other teams right now in the same position that City is in right now when it comes to essentially not having a head coach because again, Danny's out of contract at this point right now and not having a sporting director because Colorado Springs just went and fired their head coach and fired their sporting director in one fell swoop.
A year
However,
after winning USL
a
championship.
year after winning USL championship.
Yeah.
However, that doesn't mean that this is a position that you want to be in. Um, I don't think Colorado Springs wants to be in the situation that they are in, even though, again, it's
Right.
perplexing as far as why they went off and did that. But again, this isn't a situation that you want to be in. I mean, we're not coming on here and saying that, oh, because Detroit City is in this situation right now, they're not going to be able to field a team next year. Of course, they're going to be able to field a team next year. Of course, they're going to have a team to put on the pitch next year. That's not the case. What is the case, though, is what they are doing right now. And you can say the same thing about Colorado Springs or a team like Colorado Springs. Are they putting themselves in the best position right now to have a better season than what you had this year, next year? Are they putting themselves in a position for success next season? And success doesn't necessarily have to come via, wins and losses necessarily. It can come,
I mean, it kind of does.
it kind of does. Yes, yeah, for the most part, yes, it does. But
It's column A of the equation.
I think
Yeah.
this year though, if we saw some other things that were happening, during the course of those losses, then we can sit there and, take a step back and be like, okay, I can see what they're trying to do here. And maybe it's just going to take a little bit more time to get through this. Whereas this past season, um, it was just completely off the rails. And it was like, okay, I have no fucking clue what's going on here. I don't know what we're trying to build towards here because it certainly isn't, getting that home playoff match and, and making our way through the playoffs. I don't know what's going on here.
Right.
But
Well, I think that there was, a largely a feeling coming into this season that, especially based upon, like, I mean, we were what the fourth best team in the league over the course of the season last year. Like that was not like a fluky good year. Like we were legit good.
we were good. Yeah. Yep.
Um, and so you can kind of tell a story of like this upward trend, right? Like, okay, well, Trevor laid these foundations and now he's moved upstairs, and with Danny, we've tightened up a couple things, and we're a little more aggressive and attacking than we had previously been. And the balance has just been good. But more than that, you've been telling a story of yourself as the kind of underdog club, but that is, a patient community club that it builds year on year. Um, and I think they've kind of taken a shit on that entirely, but by the way they treated Trev. Um, just giving him 2 years on the sidelines in the USL before deciding that a year, a little bit better than this year wasn't good enough, and kicking him upstairs, and then firing him, you know, like unceremoniously in the middle of the season. And I said at the time that, like, look, I there are ways that I could, while understanding that Trev's my friend and that I believe in him and I believe in what he was doing with the project. There are things I could hear that would make me understand, like, why the decision was made, right? Like, if you're hearing that, like, okay, we were really trying to modernize certain things, or we were trying to add people in ways, and Trev was really used to having all this under his control or something. Yeah, people go that way sometimes. Like, okay, I can see it, but that wasn't what was happening at all. And you know, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in what we've seen since then. Which is, like, we haven't added any scouts. We haven't, I think I said at the time that I would be a little more okay with it if you could see that they were immediately shifting toward building a progressive, sort of modern scouting group, where you've got, the coaches and data analysts and scouts all kind of working together to get complete player assessments, both of your own players and others, whatever. Like, that is a complex undertaking that is a lot cheaper and simpler to just farm out to a single dude who's got, like, some wisdom, um, but also is much more durable within your organization if you can create an actual structure that produces good outcomes like that, and not just, like, rely on the wizard to do wizard things. And that's, so that would be a scenario where, okay, you let Trev go, and I'm not happy about that, but I can see that you're trying to build something. But there's nothing like that. There is nothing like that. Those were all, like, hopeful fantasies I was making up to not stare what they were doing in the face, I guess. And um, what they were doing is betraying their legacy and the legacy of the club. And now where are we? Like, we're not a club that pays a lot. We're not a club that has any continuity. Where all these players were brought here by Tiffany, and then unceremoniously told not to speak to them. They've been told not to speak to us, right? That they if Danny learned that they'd spoken to us, that they'd be kicked out of practice. Like, what? Okay. Um,
I think for
uh,
me, my way to
I-
describe it is 6 words.
here's my question.
Yeah.
Why haven't we done injury reports all year? And
because
I
it
just,
supposedly
I'm
gives
gonna,
the other teams an
okay.
advantage.
Why did any professional sports start doing official injury reports and start fining teams for not filing injury reports? Why did that happen? It's because of gambling, right? It's because
Hmm.
if injuries are secret information, then they're an advantage for gamblers who can get ahead of a line or whatever. Or they're the thing you can try to keep secret so you can get ahead of a line, make some money. Okay. So if I were the USL championship and I were worried about gambling, let's say, within my leagues, I would look hardest at teams that weren't putting injury information out there, even when it's, like, in a way that is obviously farcically inadequate. Like, every the beginning of every match, they say Detroit City, no injuries, and, like, we know that, like, that Ben's not there, Connor's not there, Reese is not there, all because they're injured. Um, you know, like, it's just a lie. Like, they just didn't report them. So if I was USL Championship, I'd be looking hardest at the teams that didn't report that stuff and try to figure out if there's anybody around those teams, especially most terrifyingly around the technical staffs of those teams who gambles on football. Um, that's the thing I would look at if I were them, I guess.
My 6 words to describe 2025 Detroit City FC is what is old is new again. And this is not just on the field. 6 words. What is
Making
old is
sure.
new.
Just making sure.
Yep, let's just check and see. 2023, we saw, a lot of inconsistencies, people on player, a lot of new people in, but not being featured, displaying unhappiness one way or another. And a team that struggled all season in stretches got into the playoffs because others, weren't able to do the job. Defeated at that time a best regular season team in the first round, and then got eliminated in the second round. And we went into this season with a lot of potential on the field. Our excitement, technical moves, everything being done to go for it. But it seemed a lot of reminders as far as the play that we saw on the field, as Sean's mentioned and Adam's mentioned, we've all mentioned throughout the years, the issues, players being sidelined just based off of if whatever reason Danny Dichio seemed to find a way of, and then you look into the power struggle, not just down there, but also behind the scenes in front office, which leads to um, July 22nd, if I'm remembering that day correctly, with the club and mixed messaging, which unfortunately the club has become quite good at, whether they intend to be or not. A thank you post of joy and everything like that, but then you click on a press release and of Trevor James being let go with immediate effect. Misleading. But again, what is old is new again is a club makes a decision like that, and a professional sporting organization, when they make a big change like that, more often than not, when they make a change like that, they already have a plan in place. They have somebody in line for an interim, somebody to be in sharp to be like, hey, while we are looking, this person will be an interim thing. We didn't do that, correct, gentlemen?
I mean, if we did, we bungled it.
Yep. And therefore, people that are leading the charge for said sporting director and everything, are, as I recall, right, people in the front office that are not football specialized. In a club with a tight situation, and Sean, as you've mentioned it, and it's been a big pain point also of what is old is new again. When I look at the departures of talent in the front office that are not in the C-suite, and either not yet filling those roles or taking incredibly long and then passing on the duties of that person in particular to other people who are already overworked, underpaid, underappreciated. Like it's 2017, like it's 2018, like it's 2019, and you're saying, and Sean, we've seen that throughout our time.
Yeah.
What is old is new again. We are a professional sporting organization, on the outside surface, going to a shiny stadium, going to D1 football, going to all of that. But inside, when you look at organization or lack data, we are a fucking clown show at times. And that to me is what annoys me. The biggest thing holding Detroit City FC back is Detroit City FC themselves. And now we are going into this off season here with 3+ months. We do not have the sporting director filled. We don't know what the coaches are going to be. We have all those people that are out of contract with club options in 20 for this year. We have uncertainty of the 2026 guys who, hey, may not want to come back or maybe talking to their agent to get out if the coach is coming back. And add to that the current situation in the USL Championship. Sean, you mentioned again a situation. There's a big one right now, the collective bargaining agreement that's not yet done,
Right.
which means there's a very damn fine chance that this league will not start on time next season. In fact, I would rate it higher than WNBA, especially when you look at what happened with North Carolina FC.
I will say that I think WNBA probably, because they're backed by the NBA, that's more likely to be interrupted. I think because that's going to come from the owners. It's going to be a lockout. I think they're gonna look at what the players want and just go like, okay, we're not gonna have a season then. We can wait. You're going to suffer more than us. But I think USL Championship is not at that level. I don't think there's a lot of these teams that could be like, pound sand, fucko.
But they can pause play though for 2026, 2027, and then submit a Division One application with the hope of finding a 15,000 seat stadium in Raleigh because it's a good financial investment, which by the way was a league statement.
That's the thing is like at this point we're so far, it's like we're so far up the delusion and hyperbole slope that it takes a lot for it to register as delusion and hyperbole. You know what I mean? Like, you're constantly seeing, like the AI slop videos you see show you any dumb possibility. So here we look at this and we kind of realize like, oh God, is this just another bubble? Like, is this, like that bubble of the AI investment where it's just like seven companies all pouring money around, like all trading it around in circles and calling it an economy. And like, oh no. I just feel like maybe we're the death in that meme, knocking on the league door, like, hey,
It was never the Cosmos, it's
it
us.
was us.
It was us all along. Oh, son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
Misa's still trying to make a go of it. Bless him. So there's grifting to be done out there, baby.
But that's if people wonder and people ask me why I might be feeling the way I'm feeling or why I haven't, been to Keyworth in a long time. It's because of what I just described. What is old is new again. And that's Detroit City FC's 2025 season for me.
Yeah. I mean, you know, essentially none of the people who were at the center, who were like in leadership positions in Northern Guard, let's say, um, from the MPSL days, um, are very involved with the club at all, um, anymore. You know, um,
Say
you
almost
know,
none of them are.
just
Seems-
just walked away, right? Um, and the club has a history of kind of burning its relationship with employees. There was the Lindsay thing when where she and Jalen were together, and um, the way they dealt with Cyrus and George. Um, uh, More recently with Trev and with Garret, although, we don't talk about that a lot because, federal charges pending and all that.
Respect to the situation that's currently at hand.
Right. But, I will still maintain that, especially given multiple days before a statement was produced, which I understand that was the timing. Even reflexively, even if you're like if you're being called and you're being awoken out of a dead sleep, it's 3:30 in the morning. Someone from the Detroit Free Press wants a statement about this employee of yours that is being accused of a crime. I think the very first things out of your mouth would probably be that, we have the concept of innocence until guilt is proven is still a thing in our jurisprudence and should remain a thing, and so because of that, we're um, like that should just be that should be your knee-jerk reaction, not like, oh my God, what, oh geez, like so sorry. Okay, we don't barely know that person, like, wow. You seem like someone who's going to stay, who's like, I've got full confidence is going to stand by me in a moment of crisis, right? Like, you just immediately just like shit yourself and like turncoat. Oh, what? Well, we always thought he was bad. He's a bad kid. Knew it. We've known him since he was 14, but we're still going to disavow him immediately because we're fucking gutless and rudderless and have no morality that we're willing to express in public. It's fine, guys. You're doing great.
You're doing amazing, sweetie. All
Okay.
right. Fun question time.
Sorry.
Short answer time.
So hard not to start ranting. Like, okay.
3 weeks from now, December 1st, will Detroit City have a sporting director? I'm going to ask each of you. Sean Spence, yes or no?
Um, I think we won't know.
So you're saying
I think they're going to release a statement saying that we will have a statement very soon and that we're working very hard.
Adam?
No. In fact, somebody asked this question, I think, in one of the Discords, and um I said I hope to have one announced and ready to go by mid-December at the absolute latest, because I'm trying to be as realistic as possible with them, and it seems like it seems like that's always their timeline. When was Danny introduced? Was it late December?
No, was I think he was announced early December, if I
Was it
recall
announced
right.
early December?
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a really long pause between the season and between the
In
announcement that
game.
Trevor was going upstairs.
December 5th, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no.
Okay.
You know, go ahead, Garrett. What do you think?
No.
We are full of confidence. I mean,
Um,
what a bunch of ass clowns.
because I'm just wondering too, if they haven't made
I'm
their
gonna wait, hold
decision.
on, Garrett. I'm gonna put a graphic together for this and just put all of our picks.
Oh,
We'll start.
you're gonna be making a bunch of graphics.
I
There's
think
gonna be a few short answer questions
I
here.
think that
and
it's
and then we could just
go
then we
ahead.
could have some jackass put a clown emoji over our faces when they announced the sporting director at
Yeah.
11:59 on
You
November
think those?
30th.
You think they're good at photography?
I think that like the most likely happy outcome is that it turns out Dwayne he's been doing this all along and he turns out to be super good at it. Like we just start signing players and it's like, what the fuck? Okay, well, maybe someone must be doing it.
Hey
They just
guys, and then the way
and then
he acts all nonchalant and turned
right,
out to be the
yeah,
goddamn
like
saving grace.
right, exactly. That would be a very Dwayne thing to do. It'd be like, I just made some phone calls. I mean, it's
I
just
was doing it all
these guys,
along, guys.
these guys are really. It just came together because these guys are such great guys, and like it was, like everybody I dealt with were like just the greatest and the nicest.
David Dwayhe, you patron son of a bitch. Love you with your heart.
Yeah, no, for real. Um, yeah, I also think the most likely outcome is um, that they just re-sign Danny.
That was going to be my next question. Damn it.
Sorry, I do think they re-signed. I mean,
So you say yes, Danny Dichio comes back.
I think they. I think that all of this with Trev and Tiffany was about Danny wanting them out, and like I think that like I think that they are going to be left with that psychology of previous investment problem, where they're like, well, I mean, you know, we sacked like the kind of like people who we had presented as the hub of the entire, organization. Well, to keep this guy around. So, like, what are we going to fire him now? Um, and yeah, I think they'll probably keep him around, and then I think that you're going to see a lot of players who have an option go elsewhere. I mean, like, I know that Kobe and Alex are friends. And you started seeing the two of them hit like they got Isaac or Isaiah in, and um, then they were both on the bench. Like, was that a thing? Was that the problem? Were they like, was Alex emboldened by the presence of his friend, and they started kind of publicly disputing with Danny and saying like, I don't like this or I don't like that. And frankly, given the way things are going, I can't imagine like. If you're an active and engaged player who like is invested in your own career and invested in success, like aren't you gonna when you're like on the middle of a terrible run, aren't you going to have questions in training and say like, well, what about this and what about that? Like I did when I was like 15. I can't imagine like asking a grown man to just shut the fuck up and do what I tell you. Like what? This is not the army.
It's how locker rooms are lost. I mean, it's almost textbook. I mean,
Hmm.
things aren't going right, and you still try to urban meyer your way through, with professionals, and you end up losing the locker room, and essentially you end up losing your job. Now, to
Right.
answer your question, Garrett, and to kind of piggyback off of what Sean was saying there, Sean, that makes entirely too much sense what you mentioned and how they go about this whole Danny thing. Yes, you would absolutely figure that, okay, they, they fired a club legend like Trevor James and another club legend. Well, I guess they didn't technically fire Tiffany. Um, they usher them out the door um, because the thought was Danny didn't want them there anymore, and that he won the tug of war with with some of the guys who have money and some of the guys that are calling the shots. And yeah, I mean, logically speaking, you do that to Trevor and Tiffany, you get them out of here. Yeah, you would keep Danny around in that sense because of what the ultimate cost was. Um,
But
but this is Detroit City FC, guys.
they're bad.
But
I mean,
to say, I really hope they overcome that tendency to, you know, shy away from your previous, from something you previously invested in. Um, do you ever listen to? There's a podcast called The Transfer Flow.
I've
It's
never, no.
it's
No.
Ted. I think it's Ted Newton. Is that who does it?
You say
But
Ted Nugent?
Newton. He's
Oh,
a
okay.
like a he's a
Phew.
guy's he's a
See,
professional
does Ted
gambler.
Nugent?
Does a lot of anyway. It's an analytics podcast, and one of his things that he says constantly is like in terms of managers, you should fire early and fire often. that the numbers say that really just continuing to change managers until you find one that clicks is probably the right thing to do, um, which is kind of wild, like and counterintuitive, not the way that we typically think about it. Like you're going to let the manager bet in way longer than you do the players, and he's kind of like, no, 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 no. The players are like the essential variable, or the essential like they're the manager is the variable, and the players are the players. Like you've got what players you've got, and you can different managers will get wildly different outcomes from the same group of players. And so anyway, that's his big. That's his big thing about that. And so when I think about this, I hope that they listened. I hope they're listening to Ted Nugent and going, okay, well, like this just wasn't it. Let's just move on. Like, we don't need to agonize about this. He's out of contract. We don't have to make him a big story. We can just say, we're on to the next guy. Thanks for trying. Um,
And that's the
and
way you can, that, I mean, that's another way you can look at it too, Sean, is, this is, if they want to, if they want to look at this in a way that, okay, maybe we made a mistake with Trevor, maybe, things didn't work out with Danny. 2025 was a disaster. However, we are in a position now to have a completely clean slate and just build things out from here. We've got a lot of things coming up. We got a lot of exciting things coming up, with the new stadium and, possibilities with a Division 1 league. Um, you know, this is this is that time right now where everything can be new with what we're doing. It's a clean
yeah,
slate. Let's move forward with that and, just start things fresh. Um, and I don't think anybody would be disappointed with something like that. I think people would be, for the most part, okay with something like that.
yeah,
I guess the biggest question now, given how things have gone is, what are they going to do to, make us bang our head against the wall?
yeah. I mean,
So
I just feel like
Adam
the
hasn't
like
technically answered the question yet. Sorry.
okay. So what I was going to say real briefly is just that I don't because so many this is one of the parts of functionality that is broken within the club is that there's not a story narrative coming out of the communications part of the club at all. It's just kind of like here's the minimum we got to do. We got to do some pictures once a day. We got to do lineups. We got to do that. We're doing the minimums. That's it. Um, so we don't have any sense of process, right? Maybe there's process happening and we just don't know, but I think that there's not. um, and that is what's concerning. Is like this is a competitive. This is competitive, right? Like you're literally competing against the other teams, and like these players, like it just I don't know.
Not only that, Sean, you're not just competing with
It feels
other.
unserious. It feels like they're not being serious about the competitive part of the team right now. Like they're like yeah, we got some soccer shit going on, but we are mostly a stadium corporation for the next
Well, and that
several years.
and that's
Like
and that's
okay,
the thing, Sean. You are sitting here. You are competing with other teams on and off the field. Um, but what you're also doing is, if you are a professional club, you are in a very big, relatively speaking. I mean, you're in a big market, professional market. You're in a big college market. You are fighting for air in a very saturated place in the United States when it comes to
yeah,
sports.
yeah.
You are competing with some of these other teams for any semblance of airtime that you can possibly, muster for yourself. And you're not doing a very good job at making that case that yes, I should in some sense be at the same, brought up in somewhat, if not the first sentence, maybe the second sentence when you're discussing the Lions or the Tigers or the Pistons or the Red Wings.
I mean,
Um, it's still, I mean,
yeah.
Detroit City is still a complete afterthought. And I saw somebody,
Well, like the level of of our promotion is just at completely like it's okay. So think about when you see like Lions players doing a public promotion or they're doing a news hit or whatever. Like they're clearly have been prepped. There's a team there with them who's like kind of told them what angle is going to happen and the player is ready to go. And then when our players go, it's like they look like they're on a NPR like panel about like, grain subsidies or something. They're just like, Yeah, well, we are playing a game tonight. It is an exciting game. We are hopeful to win the game. Like, oh my God. Like, we actually just asked the players to like make something up that they're going to say. Like, that's not what they do, you know? I don't know. When you look at things like that, the kind of we haven't hit that level of professional slickness at a consistent basis.
It's not even
And
close.
maybe part of that is on purpose. Maybe part of that is intentional to kind of keep our branding grounded more at our level. You know what I'm saying? Not to try to blow a bunch of air up our own ass that we have to try to like pass later. Um, but it, you know, even being like clumsy and charming requires a certain amount of charming. Um, and we seem to have lost that, entirely. It's just, you know, replacement grade, like AI level stuff. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the things there or people are, starting by having Chat GPT write it for them, and then I'll change it to make it sound more human, which is like, if you're doing that at your job, like, uh,
So this is what I'll bring this quote from Mad Men, and then I'll get Adam's answer
okay.
on this.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Um,
I'm just
Detroit's
chasing rabbits and
Detroit
it's
City has
freaking.
passed the. This is a line from Mad Men season 4. I forget which episode. Detroit City has passed the phase from lubricated to morose. So
There you go, Adam. Take it.
Danny Dichio back yet next year or no?
Oh my God. No,
And since you said no, where's he going?
I don't know.
Take a
Who,
guess.
who cares? If he goes, I mean, I know there's rumors floating around that he's going to go to Pittsburgh. If he goes to Pittsburgh, who cares? I don't care. I don't care where Danny Dichio goes. I don't know where he's going to go.
I'm with Adam in the sense that you go in theory you go through all the hoops, get rid of club legends, both husband and wife, power struggle to appease the coach and everything like that. It's a no-brainer that he's back, right? It's Detroit City FC. Just start
I will say
ideas that
this,
don't finish. Danny
and I
Dichio's
will,
gone.
and I will say this: if they do hire a new sporting director, and they do bring back Danny Dichio, I'm not going to trust that that sporting director made that choice. I just don't see how anybody could, given the opportunity to move on and start fresh, can make that decision. It doesn't make any sense from that standpoint. Because if you're bringing in somebody new, who has no prior connection to anything that was Detroit City before, then I don't know if the Trevor thing weighs a whole lot on you. Um,
Yeah, no, I don't think it does at all. Like if a
yeah,
sporting director, if they actually hire a sporting director and then actually give the sporting director, you know, a chance to pick the coach, I can't see how Danny stays.
exactly.
Like,
100% agree.
like, okay, well, like you know, you've got 2 years of results to look at and say, you know, and I haven't heard an explanation for why everything sucked this year from Danny at all. I haven't heard really much of an acknowledgement of things
And today
sucking.
would have been the day. Today would have been the day, Sean. The Monday morning after, you lose you lose in the playoffs to your rival. Today would have been the day because again, if this was
Right.
any other professional sports team in the city, if this was Dan
You
Campbell
put out
last
like
year losing to the
like a four
Commanders,
minute video in front of a step and repeat of the club logo where you're kind of, morosely turning over and saying, yeah, but I just want to say from everyone here that we agree it wasn't good enough, or whatever. Um, but instead it's like, hey, we beat Louisville. Suck it. Okay.
We made history
Yeah.
for the second time in 3 years. Well, yeah, but what else did you do?
Beat Houston.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
I mean,
Um,
it's not like if we were talking about this at the end of last year, Danny's like one of the hottest coaching prospects in the league, right? He really did seem to come to City and like jump us up a notch. Like we really went on a hot streak toward the end of the year that like and drove up. We had stated our goal was to host a match, and like it didn't look that likely 6 weeks out, and then we kind of stormed into the playoffs and got to third place in the East and hosted the match, and was lost in penalties, um as you
thanks,
do.
thanks, Maxie.
Yeah, yeah, but uh like now I don't see how you look at I mean I guess that he if you're the sporting director, you interview Danny, he's probably just like, that Trevor James saddled me with the saddest group of shitbags you've ever met. These guys are garbage, human garbage bags, and this guy won't know them that well. Um, I don't know. And then go through a huge bloodbath and hope that you can produce results with whoever shows up next year and kind of salvage your reputation. And I'm guessing that's what we're about to see is, you know, everybody punching down until it reaches the workers, the players, and that's who ultimately suffers.
So yeah, I'm gonna go DQ out. It'd be interesting if Pittsburgh, if not Pittsburgh, it'll be Colorado Springs. Um,
Interesting. I'm curious. Do you have like a now? I'm not talking about a famous manager coming to Detroit City. I'm not saying like Jose Mourinho come to Detroit City, Pep Guardiola come to Detroit City. I'm saying in the mold of what famous manager would you like to see a manager of Detroit City be? You know what I'm saying?
oh, do I want to be how biased and say Oliver Glasner? But I don't think there's anyone that would do that on this side of the continent, on this side of the world, footballing wise.
Well, I mean, I think
Um,
there's Glasner is part of this new cohort of very good kind of like coaches who have learned to translate that into I'm like I would say Iraola is that way.
yeah.
Um Thomas Frank really is that way. Um and who are like at an extremely high level, um and seem to always produce like when I think about that's who I think of as like the kind of managers I'd like Detroit City to have is like Iraola, Thomas Frank, um, you know, probably not Fabian Hertzler, right? He's like we don't need a wunderkind, right? We just need like
Mhm.
a dude who's a good coach and a decent guy.
A dude who has his ways, but is also
Right.
a human with
Right. Well,
players.
like I don't think Thomas Frank is the world's greatest manager, right? But I think he is pretty incredibly well-rounded. Like he's got a good reputation tactically for, coming up with structures that stand the test of time. He's good at man management. He's, by all reputation, like one of those managers who was kind of like Trev. It was like, okay, well, this is part of your, life journey, your growth as a person. Like, how can we help you in every way? And so that's the kind of dude I'm looking for, or woman. I don't doesn't have to be a dude, although there's so few women with the right badges that it won't be a woman.
Um, Next question.
You guys didn't answer. I answered. You were supposed to answer. What kind of manager would you like?
I said Glasner.
Okay, Glasner. Yeah, okay, but yeah, and then I kind of riffed off that. Like somebody like that. Somebody who's not. like self-effacing a little more, you
Yeah.
know? Um,
Detailed yet human.
yeah. What do you think, Adam?
I
You
mean,
going
look
for
what
like a
Boise
premium?
did. I mean, look at Boy. I mean, you look at Boise. I want to get like a Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp still doesn't have a job, does he, Sean? I mean,
Oh
No,
God.
no, he's working for Red Bull.
He's a
oh, is he working for Red Bull? God
yeah,
Yeah,
damn.
he's working with Red
he's
Bull.
like the president of football for Red Bull.
Yeah, and he's
Hmm.
like that's like the worst possible organization too you
Yeah,
can work
yeah.
for.
Oh, that did not go down well.
No, yeah, and, like he's self-aware. He knows, like, yeah, it's a, it's a great job for me. People don't like it. Like, yeah,
I like Klopp too.
I
I
do
mean,
too. Yeah,
I'm
I
an
mean,
Arsenal guy, but I really have a lot of respect for Klopp. So,
obviously, I like Klopp.
um, I don't
You're
know.
thinking
Like,
Nate, so a Nate Miller type?
well, no, I was just gonna say, like, you look at where Nate Miller went. He went to an expansion League One side, and
In Idaho.
Why can't City go out and get like a young tactician like that? And
There's a guy I really look at, and I think, man, we could get if we could just get that Pierman dude.
Run it back.
Um, although unironically, if he wanted to come back, I would, we'd break out the Caesar chance and get with it. Like, let's go. Um,
Where do you think Ryan Martin winds up? Loudon manager that Loudon early on in the year said he wasn't returning.
well, that would be an interesting uh face. I think he did a really good job of knitting together, like creating an ethos within that Loudon team.
They played good ball.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. That's somebody that I uh, wouldn't hate them talking to.
Somebody that's used to working at a club whose front office might be in all over the place.
yeah, it's kind of odd.
Subject
Hey,
matter expert in that field.
we heard you did your own laundry at Loudon.
Ah, like, no, no, we got a kid guy here. We got a kid guy. Like, we're big time. Um, I mean, that is the thing. Loudon is one of the few clubs that you could come from in the USL Championship to Detroit City and feel like, okay, well, you're not experiencing a severe dislocation in the quality of like the infrastructure you're walking around in. Although that's we're close to that changing, obviously.
Well,
The
Tommy McCabe was telling him nice things about his time at Detroit City.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the times that I've like Tommy seems like he's really, really, really wants to beat us every time we've played. But I think that may just have more to do with him being moved on so quickly and feeling like, he could have been part of a decent team. Um, and instead got shuffled off to Loudon where he suffered for the rest of this.
Tulsa first, then Loudon.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, he was in the Dario deal. Corresponding transaction.
Boy.
We got him and then Brent Levi's, who was hurt for a month, and then Dario.
What's your
Oh.
next question?
uh, Biggest name profile of a Detroit City FC player that will not be back to start 2026 if there's not a lockout.
So who's the biggest name that won't
Who's the
return? Is
biggest
that what you're
name?
asking?
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
Um,
Who wants to take the swing?
Stephen Carroll.
Yeah, I think it's Stephen Carroll. And I mean, I hope it's not,
I hope it's not too.
Um,
I still think this team is better with Stephen Carroll on the
yeah. And frankly,
in
yeah, I would, if he could, but I think it's sort of like, um, if he's having pain and he's having to train every day, then he's kind of constantly in pain. It's sort of like, so he's kind of grinding and grinding on that pain. And I think, he's at the point in his life where he's thinking about, where one's mind turns to what you're going to do with your kids, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's kind of like, I want to be able to bend over, I want to be able to flex my knees still when I have children. And yeah. Uh, so it makes me sad, and I'm sure it makes him sad. But um, I would say Stevie is the odds-on favorite in the clubhouse to be our sad farewell this
I'll
off
make
season.
I'll round it out. I'll go 3 for 3 with you on that. Um, and that's potentially with Danny coming back and without. Um, next fun question. Detroit City FC since August the what day was it? August 11th was promoting season ticket deposits for the new stadium for 2027. Will the stadium be on? Will be ready for that to play football in 2027? Yes or no?
Go ahead, Sean.
Ah,
Fuck this. Y'all went on tangents. I'm throwing fucking zingers.
okay, I I am not hearing promising things about the hospital teardown, which is, you know, hurdle one before anything can really happen. Um, so if we're still stuck behind hurdle one and already a couple months off of our timeline, it's hard not to see how that, you just know how projects are. It's going to ripple down through the timeline. So we've already bumped maybe 6 months forward in terms of like what's possible. So at this point, I think pretty much everything needs to go flawlessly just to get like a match or two in 2027 is my guess, from the outside. Um, which means they're got to be like gripping it hard. And um, they somebody's probably throwing like complete tantrums on the phone with contractors or whatever. Um, and we'll see how it goes. uh, I'm I don't know. I am like we're in one of those moments where you uh kind of your faith has been shaken, and so you don't really know the full dimensions of the shaking. You know what I mean? Um, it's like it could be slightly broader than that. It could be the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe they're fucking that up too. I don't know. I hope not.
So,
Um,
yes or no?
are you still talking to me, or are you talking to Adam?
I'm
You
still
said
asking you.
he asked you yes
Yes.
or no.
Oh, I said, we're gonna. I think I can still get a couple games in 2027, but I don't think they're not going to open the season there. Um,
Oh, he's throwing you a red because that's valid.
You
That's a
loophole
valid
motherfucker.
that's a valid way to put it. And you know
Plot
what?
twist.
And you know what? Since Sean brought that up like that, that's what I'm gonna
You
say too, Garrett.
fucking assholes.
slip the noose.
I mean,
As
unless they bring in like some Chinese firm, they can get up like schools and like office buildings up in China in like a month, if that. I don't think it'll be ready day one. It seems like it's
You mean
almost next
construction
year.
companies using actual 21st century technology?
Yes, yes,
We don't have
yes,
that in America anymore. We don't have that in
yes,
America.
yes.
We never bothered to build it. We stopped in like the early 90s. Like, that's good
Yeah.
enough. We're
If
done.
we're if we're bringing in a firm from the People's Republic with all
Right.
the bells and whistles and all their toys, then yes, it'll get
Right.
done. But that's not what's happening.
Yeah. They'll deploy machines. Like it'll be like a, like a science fiction thing. Like they come out with like a little suitcase and like two things come out, and the next thing they do is build two more of themselves, and so on and so on and so on. Von Neumann machines.
Yeah,
They
no,
have like
we're gonna be bringing out a 30-year-old cat tractor to
this baby will run all day.
Yo, did that Ford Ranger's muffler go out? I keep. So you're gonna do the yeah. So we got two people that says 27, but later. Um, Monterey Bay in 2022. I think their first game at home was until either April. It was between April or May. Rhode Island's new stadium. Their first home game of the year wasn't until May the 3rd, I think it was. They were on the road for a crap ton.
And those stadiums suck too, though. Like
Yeah.
that's one thing City has going for them is their stadium looks legit. Like it looks like a nice, that
Right.
old English style. I mean, Rhode Island Stadium looks like some mediocre high school stadium that got a bunch of extra bleachers and piled
It
them
looks like a
around
Texas high school football stadium to
yeah,
me. It's like a
yeah.
big
Okay.
school football stadium.
They're not going to be ready to play in the new stadium until Memorial Day weekend 2027
Okay.
I
So you're
mean,
because
like,
dude,
let me explain the other reason for my for
tie
my
it in with movement.
tie it in with movement. Oh, that'd be interesting. Um, is that there is a way you could do it in stages where you stage a sort of skeleton stadium as an earlier version of the build, and then you sort of build things around it. The thing is, you're probably destroying the field as you're doing that second build, so you'd have to do the field twice. It's more expensive, and those structures tend to look like that, like Crew Stadium or whatever, like all those stadiums do that look like glorified high school stadiums that are just like big banks of aluminum bleachers. Um, so I'm guessing that we're not going to do that staged build, that we're going to need to like keep the whole facility together, and we'll put the field in last, which is kind of the traditional way, which means we just, there won't be a possibility of hosting matches until at the end of the building cycle. And I just feel like,
Plus, add Michigan winners too.
right, I just feel like we are really, like, the timeline was so tight to begin with, like, and then when they said, okay, we plan to have didn't they say they plan to have the hospital knocked down
July.
in
yeah.
August? Yeah, August. And
Groundbreak in July.
yeah, well, like I think they said they thought they could complete the demolition by the end of August, and now there's snow on the ground. It's November. It's still there's still it's still standing there. Like, okay. Um, that's why I'm just like, I think it was incredibly optimistic timeline to begin with, and now they're off the timeline. They're falling behind it, and that's how large projects like that tend to go. It's like, think of a traffic jam. Like every time somebody slows down, that the ripple that goes through that traffic jam extends for miles and gets worse as it goes along. So this is that kind of thing.
So we all said Stephen Carroll is going to probably our high profile name to retire. So if that is the case, who's going to be the one wearing the armband in 2026?
Devin.
Yeah, Devin, 100%. Probably with like Michael as the vice.
If Danny comes back, it's Michael. Otherwise, it's Devin.
I mean, oy. I don't need to. I don't need to disrespect Michael Bryan at this point. I would just say that I think Devin is a superior choice. Um, but hey, whatever.
I think that's a no-brainer too. I think it's an absolute no-brainer. I just want to see Devin on the back line with McRuva behind him. And I wish I can get a time machine and go and speak with a City supporter from 2019.
What was
You,
the
you
Kyle?
Conwell,
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
the,
hey
the
George,
the
what
diaper
did we
guy.
miss with Devin and McCruva playing together?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's those games were always tough games against the Stars, and it's not hard to explain why. Like, they had Devin and they had really good players in
Yeah.
defense. It was tough to score on them. Um, so
Um, all right, let's see if I can keep going here because I feel like I got some good ones. I've had some good
It's
questions
we're
on.
also we're also an hour and like 45 minutes in, so
yeah, we might want
Not
like
my fault.
I've got to go
Not
to
my
oh
fault.
I've got to go to Walmart. So and they
yeah,
close at 11. So at like 10:30, we need to because I gotta get milk for my coffee, or I'll have a sad morning.
I'll fucking go off, and then I gotta cut the stage short, fuckers. Let's see. When do we find out about women's indoor?
Oh, probably soon as one of us calls them. I think they probably
just
know at some level, and just haven't started
I
promoting
mean
it.
there's a I thought I saw like some rough schedule out. Didn't they release one at the owners meeting?
I haven't checked out an
And
owners meeting in months, so
well, maybe you should. You wouldn't be asking these questions.
nah, I'm good.
Um, no, I think we'll probably no, I think the better question is what will we find out first, women's indoor, or will we have a new sporting director?
There's your poll question. There's your poll
Women's indoor.
question.
I think we'll know women's indoor
Oh, women's indoor. Yeah.
because I think
Yeah,
they've got the answer there. And
yeah.
I mean, maybe they've got a sporting director lined up, and they were just waiting for the end of the season to be respectful. And now, they're going to announce the sporting director, and then the next day he's going to stand up and say, we're sorry, Danny's, we're going to let him go. And there's going to be much rejoicing. And we're going to be like, this new sporting director, I like the cut of his jib. And then we'll have 3 months of relative peace.
Silence.
Yeah, and then it'll go completely silent, and we'll be like, "Want to sign players or what?"
And it's gonna be what is old is new again.
Right. Um, we'll know about the club options fairly soon. I think they have to announce those by the 30th, I think. So, in the next 3 weeks, we'll know about Kobe. Guinzotti has an option year. Yamazaki, Dom Gasso, and Makruva. Um, for me, I'm guessing like Kobe and Rookie, and that's it. Um,
So if they don't have a sporting director to make those decisions, do they call up Trevor and be like, Trevor, if you were still the sporting director, what would you
They
bring back
actually
these
don't put that
guys?
don't take that out of them. They could do that.
they they might try. I'm sure that the negotiation would be, that Trevor would counter with the negotiation. Like, well, I will need a deposit of several $1,000s. Um, and this is going to hurt. Like, I'm not talking about 5 grand. Okay. You want me to consult on your transfers for the season that you fired me before? Sure. Sure.
Here's
Um,
mortgage for the new home.
If you were us, Trevor, would you keep Kobe going in the next season?
An extra 10 grand in my bank account.
that's
Thank
my
you.
that's my one question interview. So, looking at this roster, what do you think about the club option on Kobe Hernandez Foster? There's your question. Like, if you just say anything other than like sign him with the intention of him being an everyday starter, I don't need to know you. Okay. Like, there's not, well, I mean, look, there's not that many guys in the league who can do what he can do, right? Like, we've seen this league for several years now. So when you get a guy like that, like a guy that's kind of a rare sort of piece that you can build around, like it is imperative that you make them comfortable, let them grow, and start to put things around them that'll make that work. And we did that with Maxi. That is exactly what we did with Maxi, right? We brought him in. He was kind of a get, and we sort of the team was designed around what he was good at, and man, did it work.
And you
Um,
see how it works when it isn't like that with
right,
him.
right. And I mean, it just feels to me like that the problem is that the focus is, like no players are allowed to get into that like primary position on the pitch right now. That's not a thing that's open to players. I'm not sure who it's open to, but it seems like they're expected to be like to be so exceedingly humble that they in fact like humble themselves, humble their game. you know like listen. I don't know that much about building a fantastic locker room, but I do know that like people who can change the game are relatively rare at this level. And so when you find one that's affordable, that's already here, like just fucking use him, man. Um, yeah. Anyway,
We have 6 minutes, Garrett.
Last
Kobe.
question,
Yeah,
Otis
Kobe,
Last.
if you're
Juve.
listening, we believe in you, bro.
Last question, Otis Juve. Does he return?
No,
Oh, I don't think he does.
nope, nope.
No,
Dante's Inferno, I miss thee.
I mean, I would like to see him come back. I just think he's going to, turn up in like Sacramento or um,
I see him going to like Sacramento. I can see him going to
Rhode
like San
Island.
Antonio or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, like a
Also
fairly
signs him to put him next to Alex Delu.
right, right. Like I think he's shown enough in the second half of this year that we're going to be priced out of him. Um, and and he'll walk away feeling like I'm probably going to a place that's going to utilize me better. You know what I mean?
I
Um,
think the Ates thing too is something that needed to be had the negotiations for something like that needed to have started
mhm.
like
Right around the time Trump
July.
was fired.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's when they should have been starting.
And Danny wasn't in the position to do anything like that. He's
Right.
not sporting director, he's the head
Well,
coach.
like and also he had buried Ades until he was kind
Yeah,
of like Connor got hurt and Ben got hurt. And it was
yeah.
like, well, okay, I'll give this kid some minutes. And he's like, he started taking over games. It's like, well, okay, all right. Well, I guess we'll play him. Um,
Ates Juve could walk so Kobe Hernandez Foster can run in that situation.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, then Kobe came in and was, you know, really turned things around for us. Like I don't think it's overstating the thing to say that we were at the point of just sort of almost approaching matches, like almost being pre-frustrated in matches, like knowing that like if they just bother to press us, we're probably going to turn the ball over a ton, and it's going to be very difficult. Like maybe they just won't feel like running. You know what I mean? Um, and then Kobe
So,
showed up, and that ended. Uh, and then for some reason he wound up benched, and here we are.
what is old is new again. Closing thoughts, gents, real quick.
Uh, that's my closing thought. It's a big sigh. It's a big sigh that another season has come and gone for the men, and it I we have no idea which direction things are going. So we know they're
Yeah,
building a new stadium,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's about it.
John
yeah.
Spence.
Um, you know, season of ill content. From my part, uh, and let's hope that we can, enter 26 with a little more transparency and communication between the club and the people who are paying attention, so that when things go poorly, um, you aren't coming hat in hand and saying like, "Oh, please believe me, I didn't just make up this story. This is really consistent if you've been following us." And um, I hope that they can get over this tendency to um, want to shade the truth in public to make themselves look, you know,
Better.
better. Yeah. Stand up, say what you believe, um, be transparent, tell your story. Um, there's
Tell
really
the story.
there's really no other way to be to me. Anything else is like, kind of potentially perfidious, right? So
A very rough. Personally, I look. I think a very very rough season. Last few months in particular. Tie that in with mom passing, and I think about this now 3 months on. Is I look back and I just say this: I'm still here, so it's got to make me stronger, right? Um, 2026, bring it on, whatever it may be. It might hurt, but we'll be back at some point. Who knows? It's not going to be next week. And
Unless,
shut up,
unless,
shut up.
yeah,
Don't you do it?
if
Don't
we
you
got
do
like
it?
a new coach to discuss or something,
Yeah.
but I don't think so.
Yeah, and off season when we keep going on that, whether it's all three of us or Sean and Adam or whatever it is, we'll keep doing what we're doing, and that is
This is Garrett's way of saying I'm not doing this that often this off season, guys. Okay, just know it right now. We're not going that often.
it's quote Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon. I'm getting too old for this shit.
You are the youngest one on the call, sir.
Yeah, I am. We go onward. Caw. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this episode of Make City Make Spence. To see not only this one, but prior Make City Make Spence episodes, go to detroit.themajorsports.com where you can check out all of our catalog and all things going on with not only Detroit City FC centric content, but any Majors Detroit content in general. Additionally, you can find us on YouTube at The Majors TV. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you already haven't yet. And you can also find us on wherever you check social media stuff out. We're on Twitter and Instagram at TMSNX Detroit, Blue Sky at TMSNXDetroit.bsky.social, and The Majors Detroit on Facebook. Additionally, wherever you check out your podcast, be sure to not only like and subscribe, but leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping out all of our efforts here at The Majors Detroit. Thanks again. Catch you next time.